I never planned to be an entrepreneur, but somehow I ended up here, and I would love to tell you how it happened. Today I'm sharing my journey into fashion entrepreneurship, all the mistakes that I've made, the highs, the lows. If you're into fashion entrepreneurship, please click the link below and subscribe to my channel. At an early age, I loved fashion. I loved the idea of expressing myself through my clothes, shoes, hairstyles. I remember being so picky about what shoes I would wear or what hairstyle I wanted. And sometimes I remember being quite the challenge with my mom because I was so particular about the pieces that I wanted to wear. I always loved the idea of expressing myself. That has always been who I am, and just breaking the boundaries of what was the norm in my community. As I saw someone say on TikTok recently, personal style is born through your everyday activities. It's not based on who tells you what to wear or what the blogs are saying is in or out. It's about how you feel wearing your clothes and how those pieces fit into your life. And looking back now, it's not a surprise to see where I've landed in terms of the business that I'm running. I would also like to add that my parents instilled an entrepreneurial spirit in me from my teen years. So I remember my first business being selling cookies to my local community. I also sold bags and shoes. I found a local tailor that I would go to and express what I wanted out of a dress, and we would work together and bring a piece to life. And that's where my journey started. I loved wearing maxi dresses at the time, and I still do. Whenever I would go to stores like H&M or Zara, they always had dresses that had slits, deep necks, back cuts, like things that I wouldn't wear, and I needed something modest that would cover everything on my body without having those slits and deep V neck cuts. The moment that I realized it was time for me to start this business was when I had been posting dresses that I was wearing, and I kept getting questions about where I got it from. And that was in, I think, 2019, just before COVID hit. And I know this sounds so cliche, but that's actually how it happened. And then I sat down, created an Instagram page, created my first collection, and there it was. I started selling pieces. I have a background in business management with marketing, so I thought to myself, okay, if I'm going to sell these dresses, I really need to sit down and do my research and figure out what the gaps are in the market, because you can't just sell something without knowing there's a need for it. And I will put this on a soundboard if I needed to. If there's no gap in the market for something, and if you don't have a special selling point for something, do not start selling, okay? You need to look into the data, really look for what is it that I'm adding to the market, what value am I bringing to my customer. I saw a gap in the market for dresses that were modest. I know modesty is very subjective, but to me, I didn't want dresses that had slits, cutouts on the side, cutouts on the back. I just wanted a dress that was very stylish, classic, and I wouldn't have to layer to wear a dress. And that's where the need came from, and that's the gap that I saw. I remember seeing a lot of people complain about that on the internet as well, so I thought, okay, it's time for me to do it. Why not me? I looked into what other business owners were doing, and I realized that a lot of business owners were saying, okay, if you're going to start your first collection, start small and test it out and see how the audience accepts it. I started with 6 designs. I went to a local tailor and sampled it out, which took us about a month to get the samples that I wanted. And then from there, I did everything on a pre-order basis. And when I noticed that there was a bestseller, I made a few pieces in bulk, and thankfully those items were able to sell out. Initially, I didn't invest a lot of money into it. I started with about $1,000 because I did everything on a pre-order basis. And then eventually I invested more when I noticed that there was more demand for the best-selling pieces. One mistake that I made was not doing my research regarding shipping. I've lost a lot of money from the beginning up until our second year to shipping. And thankfully, because of Shopify and research, I was able to find third-party shipping carriers that would give you a discounted rate for shipping items like to different locations. As I said before, I have a background in marketing, but it was right around the time that paid and sponsored ads were also taking off, so I didn't really have a lot of knowledge on that. So I looked for experts, and I have some great resources for you to check out where you can get your sponsored ads done without having to go to these ad agencies that charge an arm and a leg. Another mistake that I made was influencer marketing. When we had a few viral moments, I thought, okay, I was drunk on the virality and thought, okay, this is time to take our revenue and spend on influencer marketing instead of even cutting our costs further. I spent so much on influencer marketing that didn't end up yielding me much. One thing I wish I knew before starting was, if you have a gut feeling that something is going to work and you know that you have a vision of the steps you're going to take, do not take that feeling for granted. If I knew that, I would have started earlier. If you're thinking about starting a business, here's my advice. Believe in yourself, ask questions, do your research. Do not start something just based on vibes. I always say this, vibes will not get you all the way. You need research. You need to know what the community needs. You need to know what's the gap that you can fill. Influencer marketing is amazing, but it's not sustainable. I knew that I needed a strong brand. So knowing what my brand image is, my brand voice, how I want the brand to translate to the community, it's so important that you keep that consistent throughout your process, your business process. That means the language you use when you're sending out your email marketing, posting on your socials, and how your website looks. And I think that that's such an important thing. And don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't think that your product or service has to be the most perfect thing before you start, because I promise you're never going to get started if you wait on perfection. Perfection does not exist. Improvement exists. Looking back, I think I've grown so much in my confidence within myself and how I run the business, and in my decision making, as well as knowing that I don't know everything and it's always good to ask and do the research. I'm still figuring it out, but I love the journey so far, and I can't wait for what more we have in store. Right now, I'm working on a rebrand, and I'm also working on new designs because I haven't put out new designs in a long time. Finally, the burnout is gone. My creative juices are flowing, so I'm excited for the new designs and new pieces that I have coming out. If you're on your own journey, I would love to hear more about it in the comments, and let me know what kind of content you would like to see me talk about more. Is it behind the scenes, more fashion, more entrepreneurship? I would love to know your thoughts. And please like, share, and subscribe. It helps a lot. For my next video, I'll be taking you along behind the scenes of the ideation of our next collection and new designs that are coming out. So I would love for you to see that. So please like, share, and subscribe to see.